Morning, guys. It's Miss Maud here. Happy Friday. I got a few messages from you guys about the instructional video not being included in lesson 18. The curriculum department is working on that. But in the meantime, I thought that I would shoot a quick little screen recording to kind of help you guys out so that you weren't waiting for tech to get it fixed, okay? So I'm going to do a screen recording and kind of take you through the process of your first entry for the dialectical journal, and then you guys will be able to do the rest. Remember that the dialectical journal is like a really powerful writing tool, especially for us right now. I'm going to show you like how to complete the dialectical journal and how once you do so, it really becomes your body paragraph. So the more time and attention you put into your dialectical journal, the easier it's going to be to do your timed writing in lesson 19, which is scheduled for Monday. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is click on the calendar for today. And I'm going to go to today's lesson. So I'm going to make my agenda bigger. All right. And we have the link to the lesson and then the information about the dialectical journal. So yesterday we really did from the overview tab to the Let's Practice tab. So I am going to just start off with the Let's Practice Continue tab for today's lesson. So I'm going to click here. And here's where our video was supposed to be, and it's not in there. So we're going to go ahead and just do this together. First thing we need to do is download the attachment. So we want the dialectical journal. Now when I open it up like this, it doesn't give me the option to complete it. Like I can't type in here, it won't say, I can type, it just won't save my stuff. So what I'm going to do instead is go up here and download it. And I'm just going to put it on my desktop. And then you'll see it downloads down in the bottom left corner. So I am going to show it in Finder, and then I'm going to open it. So now I have my dialectical journal. Hopefully everybody sees that. So we're going to fill out just the first row, the quotation and the paragraph number, and then the interpretation and the commentary. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose my evidence. If you remember from yesterday's lesson, we had a paragraph on imagery, a paragraph on personification, and a paragraph on metaphor. Those are the three things that we looked for some evidence for yesterday. So what I'm going to do is add in first my quotation from the text along with my paragraph number. And again, you should have this on your connecting device to meaning chart from yesterday. So the evidence that I've chosen is from the first paragraph, or from the first, part of the story. It's actually from paragraph 3. And if you guys have been attending live session, you know that I talked about this particular part of the chapter and how it really affected me, especially wanting to eat meat from here on out. So I am going to use this particular piece of evidence. So bear with me while I type it. All right, so there's my piece of imagery, and then there is my paragraph number. So I think you guys could all take a look at this piece of imagery and agree with me, or at this quote and agree with me that it is pretty good imagery. So there would be meat that had tumbled out on the floor in the dirt and sawdust where the workers had tramped and spit countless billions of consumption germs. There would be meat stored in great piles in rooms, and the water from the leaky roofs would drip over it. And thousands of rats would race about on it. It was too dark in the storage places to see well, but a man could run his hand over these piles of meat and sweep off handfuls of the dried dung of rats. All right, so now what I'm going to do is switch to the interpretation commentary side. And this is really going to become our body paragraph. So the first thing that I want to use is the topic sentence that we came up with yesterday. So you guys might have it written in a similar fashion, if not the exact same wording. So I'm kind of doing a combination of what we did in both live sessions. So Sinclair's use of imagery, because we want to include that device, makes the reader feel, and I think we discussed it in both of them, which helps him achieve his purpose of highlighting somebody had a really great ghastly, I think, conditions of the meat packing factories. All right, so there's my topic sentence that we came up with yesterday. Now, we aren't going to input the quotation just yet. So we have the quotation on one side, we have the interpretation or commentary on the other side. So on Monday, when you go to do the timed writing, you'll try to figure out where your quotation kind of fits best into that body paragraph. But most of the paragraph will be written. So what we want to kind of highlight on is, remember in our prompt, it talks about how it ignited change. So we want to make sure that we use this piece of imagery and we mention his purpose and then talk about like the effect of that. So my next sentence is going to focus on that. So I'm going to say, let's see, the revelation of the conditions in the meatpacking factory sparked, and somebody else in one of the sessions said like anger. It might have been in a small group. So sparked anger and calls for change. Now we probably want to put our quote in here. So I'm going to put a star and I'm going to put quote. And then let's talk about the quote. So this particular piece of imagery, remember that they used the word graphic depictions in the prompt. So I'm going to kind of use that to lead from my evidence into my commentary, my explanation of the evidence. So I'm going to say, in this graphic depiction, and I'm referring to the quote. Y'all see that I have the quote, that's where I'm going to insert it. So in that graphic depiction, let's see, let's talk about what he does. It talks about like the disgusting conditions of the plant and how gross the product was, but it also kind of talks about the workers and what they had to go through, how, you know, the leaky roofs are dripping on them, and it's dark and it's dirty and there's, you know, it's infested. So it kind of focuses on both the conditions for the workers and also like the conditions of the product. So I want to make sure that I talk about that in my evidence too. So I'm going to say, in this graphic depiction, he highlights the struggles of the workers and the dangers of the product sold to consumers. The product, and if you want to put like the meat, you could do that as well. All right, now I need to kind of wrap up my paragraph. So I am going to kind of focus on that same idea that he focuses on the workers as well as the product, but I just want to end it in a nice way. So thus he plays on both the reader's concern for himself, because as the reader, I don't want to eat that meat, but also the reader's concern for his fellow man. So we are kind of angry at what these workers are being put through and the conditions that they are faced with. So let's see what we have here. Sinclair's use of imagery makes the reader feel disgusted, which helps him achieve his purpose of highlighting the ghastly conditions of the meatpacking factories. The revelation of the conditions in the meatpacking factory sparked anger and calls for change. There would be meat that had tumbled out on the floor in the dirt and sawdust, where the workers had tramped and spit uncounted billions of consumption germs. There would be meat stored in great piles in rooms, and the water from leaky roofs would drip over it. And thousands of rats would race about on it. It was too dark in these storage places to see well, but a man could run his hand over these piles of meat and sweep off handfuls of the dried dung of rats. In this graphic depiction, he highlights the struggles of the workers and the dangers of the product sold to consumers. Thus, he plays on both the reader's concern for himself, I don't like the but, I'm going to say, and also the reader's concern for his fellow man. All right, so once we go to write our timed writing, our first paragraph, our first body paragraph, is really done for us. So what you are going to do is you're going to continue doing your dialectical journal. You're going to do an entry for personification as well as an entry for metaphor. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to add your topic sentence in from yesterday, and then you're going to explain. You're going to continue explaining. So topic sentence plus evidence plus explanation plus concluding sentence. You're going to do the same thing for metaphor. Your topic sentence with your evidence, your explanation, and a concluding sentence. All right, so you can see that our model that we just did has been transformed into this body paragraph. That's going to help you out. It's going to become the body paragraphs for your timed writing. So if you complete them fully, all you'll have to do is add some transitions, maybe some signal phrases to them, just to make your response even better. I hope that this helped you out a little bit. If you have any additional questions, I am going to be in office hours today from 12:15 to 12:45. So you're welcome to come in and get some clarification or some additional instruction. Hope you guys have a happy Friday and a great weekend. I'll see you in live session next week.